Okay, so I have to reiterate, I had no idea what this movie was before I went in to watch it. I just knew that Ty West directed it, Eli Roth produced it, and that the cover was the cross. That's it. That's all I knew, right? So, I told you I had a story, but the story gets even weirder now that I realize what movie this is. This was. So about a month ago, I had a nightmare, a dream. In the dream nightmare, it's fine as a dream and it ends as a nightmare. So I don't know what to call it. A dream mare. In the dream mare, uh, my mom and I are looking for Christmas gifts for everyone in the family. My mom, my stepdad, my sister, my brother, and my son. And we're going to this video place. And I think it's supposed to be a pawn shop that looks like it's in somebody's old house with their shelves with DVDs. And each person needs a DVD for each person. And I have one for everyone except for my stepdad. And my mom keeps saying, he wanted this one, this specific one. She's pointing to it. And you know, in your dream, you can't really read anything. She's pointing to a name on the list. I can't read it. What is it? What is it? What is it? I can't read it. All of a sudden, something jumps at me from the side, knocks me down. Everything goes black, but I just hear the sacrament. And then I wake up and I go, what the fuck? And so that creeped me out. I'm like, why did that movie's name pop in my head? Why? So I saw it was on Tubi, so it was on a list of movies that I wanted to put in there. Actually, yeah, it is right here. 3 question marks. That I wanted to do. Of the 18 that I ended up having on the list, I've done 13, so there's still 5 unaccounted for. But no, there's more than 5 because 13 Sins wasn't on the initial list, so there was 19 on the list. So it was on the list, but I didn't know if I was going to do it. And I remembered that dream, and I decided I have to do it, right? I have to do it. So this is where the story gets interesting. About 9 years ago, my friend Eric and I sat down to watch a movie that disturbed the hell out of me so much that I promised I was never going to watch it again. I wanted nothing to do with it. It was basically a movie retelling, inspirational movie. It was a movie inspired by the Jonestown Massacre. And I remember it got very disturbing for me that I didn't want to ever experience the movie again. But I never knew the name of the movie. I just knew this movie as the guy who poisoned everyone with a cyanide-laced drink. So that was that. Well, it turns out that movie is called The Sacrament. Yeah, and plot crunch here. This guy, Patrick, gets a letter from his sister telling him where she is, what's going on, and everything. And so he works for Vice, which is an actual channel. And he and his co-worker / buddy, Sam, I'm going to struggle not to call him Danny because he looks just like Danny the Cinestalker on YouTube. But his name is Sam. And their other friend co-worker, Jake, decide they're going to go there and they're going to film it. Now, clearly, though, as they go in, these people do not know they're going to get filmed. They just called for Patrick. They wanted Patrick. These other two were not supposed to be there, and it becomes very increasingly obvious that only Patrick was supposed to come there. But they're allowed to come in, you know. And I will tell you this. I was about 3/4 way of the film, through the film, and I was like, you know what? This is not as bad as I remember it. Now, it's not a bad movie. It's very well done. I have a couple issues, plot-wise, issues. Um, but it's not a badly made film. I think it's pretty good made. Pretty well made. There it is. Pretty well made, all things considered. The subject matter is not something I want to go back to. And like I said, 3/4 way through, I'm like, oh, this is not bad as I remember it to be. And then you get the climax. And then that's where the shit hits the fan, everything goes down. Yeah. Then I was like, oh, okay. Yep. Now I remember. So this is done found footage style, although I have a big issue with that when it gets to the climax, alright? It's done found footage style, and at a certain point in the film, I'm just like, this would be much easier if it wasn't found footage. Because there's, at one point, so they have one camera that Jake is operating, and then once they get to this party, they're like, Patrick's camera can also shoot video. So now you got two different cameras shooting things at a certain point. There's two cameras there, but then it goes back to one because Patrick disappears. He has a threesome with two women. And then the next day it goes back to the two cameras. And Jake takes off to go tell the helicopter guy not to leave because he said, I'm going to get 8 o'clock. I'm going to wait a half hour or whatever, or 15 minutes, whatever, and you're not here. I'm gone, So he goes to tell the helicopter, and this is where shit really hits the fan because, let's go back. The night of the party, Father, who is this religious cult leader, agrees to have an interview. So I was watching this, and as it was going through, I'm like, okay, this is not what I thought it would. This is found footage. First of all, I didn't realize that, and then I'm like, okay, well, this doesn't seem like it would be like a ghost story, haunted thing. And I heard Father, and I'm like, Father? Okay, is it like a cult thing? What's going on? And then I saw him. You don't see him for like the first half hour of the movie. When he comes out, he came out, and I flipped the fuck out. I'm like, no. I muted it. I paused it. I'm like, no. Not this movie. No. No. You don't understand. I freaked the fuck out. No, I said I wasn't gonna watch this movie again. No. And after I did the thing, I'm gonna go take a deep breath. And after many times doing that, I very hesitantly push play again. And then that's when I got to, I'm like, okay, this is not as bad as I thought it was. Then you get to the climax. But they said this interview, it says to me 30 minutes. And, he starts answering questions, but he's very vague about everything. He tells him his real name. He's like, well, they're like, where'd you come from? He's like, oh, I'm from all over the place. That's the easiest answer to get out of answering a question I've ever heard of. And basically, he's stepping around all these things. They have more questions, but eventually they just go to this party. And they're hanging out in their own little pavilion when this little girl, mute girl, Savannah, shows up and gives them a note that says, please help us. And then they go back to their cabin and they see Savannah. It's actually pretty well done because Jake puts down the camera like this, and then you just see Savannah at the door, and she hits the door, and they go out, and there's a little secret meeting where she's not the only one who wants to leave. There are other people who are afraid for their lives and want to leave. They're called like dissidents or whatever they're called, I think, according to Wikipedia. So the next day, tensions are high because the dissidents, they want to go. These outsiders, as they call them, coming in, have triggered them to want to leave. Problem is, there's not going to be enough room on their helicopter to take everyone with them. There probably would. You can shove everyone in there and just go for it, I guess. But, no. And this is where it all hits the fan. Jake runs off, and then Sam gets attacked. Patrick is also attacked, I think. Knocked unconscious. And Sam is attacked. And then Father starts conducting everything. And Jake has one camera, so Caroline, Patrick's sister, is now manning the other camera. Do you see how this would be easier if it was a regularly shot film? Because now you have to have one of them, when they specifically before people were yelling about being filmed, now they have to do it because they didn't, then you wouldn't see all that. So if it wasn't found footage, then, But the found footage thing does work for their shooting this documentary. And it is all presented as a documentary. Every single bit of compiled footage put together and made into this documentary. However, there is one big issue. So, while Jake is gone, actually, let me talk about that last. So, Jake comes back and sees the aftermath of what has happened. I'll get to it. He comes back, he finds Father. Well, first of all, he finds... So, at one point, Caroline... Okay, I have to talk about this. Okay, so, be warned, what I'm about to talk about is something I'm not comfortable with. It's very uncomfortable watching. I found myself covering myself. I had a blanket on because I have air conditioner on and it's kind of cold. I don't have it on right now, but, But I snuggled up with a blanket and I was watching this. Just snuggle up with a blanket and watch the Sacrament. And, it's a family picture. No, it's not. Don't let your children watch this. If you're a parent, don't watch this. So, if you're familiar with the Jonestown Massacre, this motherfucker convinced all of his followers to drink a cyanide-laced beverage. Or Kool-Aid, as Eric called it. Because that's what it kind of looks like, making Kool-Aid. This is just vitamin water. Berry. It's good. Yeah, you see them mixing the thing, you see them putting the white powder in, mixing it together, and you just think, oh no. And he's preaching to everyone, this is how we're just going to sleep. We're going to sleep. We're all going to go together. The whole thing. Fuck bastard. And then it gets to the point when they start to drink it. There was one guy that stands up to them. He's like, no, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. And then Father just somehow convinces them to go along with it. Everybody starts drinking. Men, women, children. And they're even injecting it into babies. Because they see it as the only way out. And just seeing children with, convulsing and the white foaming mouths is just, no. It's, as a father, it's terrible. It's absolutely horrible to see this. I almost wish they didn't show any of that. And they just cut to Jake coming back and seeing all of them laying there dead. It would have been better than seeing all of it die, but I get why he did that. You need to see the tragedy. Sometimes you have to see the tragedy to understand it, but it's seeing the women and the children and the babies. So Jake goes to the helicopter, then he gets shot at. I want to know who is driving that thing to take him out there, because it makes, I don't know. Do you think he would drive it or something? I don't know. But he gets shot at and he ends up in the woods. He has his camera. He leaves it there. He takes off and hides. And then the guards show up and they pick up the camera and they're like, where did he go? Where did he go? And then they put the camera back down. Why? Because Jake has to pick it up and take it back with him to the parish. Eden Parish. That's why they put it back down. Again, if this wasn't found footage, they could have just showed him hiding. That's not the big issue here. He gets back, and Sam is missing, and he gets there. Everyone is dead. He sees Caroline. He follows her, and she leads him back to where she has poisoned Patrick. Yeah. And so she covers herself in gasoline and sets herself on fire, which freaks him out. And then eventually Jake has to go hide. And he ends up hiding in a place where Savannah, the mute girl, and her mother are hiding. It is revealed the reason she doesn't talk anymore is because she was abused. She just showed scars, but that was earlier. They show it. Here, Savannah's mom has decided that she doesn't want them to kill her child, so she slashes her own child's throat. If this disturbed me before, it gotta be worse now, because I'm a father now, and that's just... I was a father when this came out, 2013. I was a father. I don't know what I'm talking about, apparently. More just. More job, just. Thank you. Anyway, so then the guards show up, and he's hiding underneath the bed, so they don't see him. Apparently, I don't know how they couldn't see him, but they can't see him, because if they saw him, he wouldn't be able to get away. But you don't see it, but you see him point the gun and fire the gun at the two, and then he turns around and you see the aftermath. Eventually gets out, and he eventually finds Father in his little camp room with Sam. And this is where it gets very confusing, because he's sitting there preaching, oh yeah, you came in here and you ruined everything. They actually didn't do anything. They were there, they were filming things. It was your people who decided they were going to use these people to escape. Now, as I mentioned before, they never intended for Patrick to come with other people. He was supposed to come alone, because they're going to use him so that his parents can send money there. That's what they were going to use him for. Hence, luring him in with the two naked women, threesome thing. But, so in a way, them going with him ruined their plans, but his whole thing is just like, well, you caused this. No, you did. You didn't have to freak out like you did. He thinks letting anyone go would bring people back there and ruin what they have. By the way, they used to be in Mississippi, I think it was, or something, and they relocated to a unspecific African country. Because in real life it was Guyana, something like that. Guyana, I don't know. But here it's just Guyana, just the unknown South American country. But, he basically blames them for it. And then he takes out a gun, and they freak out, but then he just shoots himself in the head. And then they get the key, and they unlock Sam, and then they take off, leaving the other camera behind. Let me say that again. They leave the second camera behind. The camera that we've seen footage from, it was Patrick's camera, we've seen footage from it, from the entire from the documentary that we are watching today. It's a documentary that they took all the footage from this and put together as a documentary. They left it behind. left it behind. So how could they use the footage if they left it behind? Now I know in the real Jonestown story, there were filmmakers who left a camera behind. It was the footage found by the cops. But they don't specifically say that. They don't put that. They take off, they get on the helicopter, and they leave, and the screen goes black. And they have a thing that says 167 people died. The filmmakers were the only 2 that survived, although that's bullshit because there was a guard left. Unless there's one guard, the hesitant guard, he shoots the guard that was compliant, and then he says, I'm going to burn this whole place down. All right? So maybe he, killed himself like Caroline did. I don't know. But, itch. Where was I? I need to shave again soon. I'm getting itchy. So the thing comes up, and it says that this documentary is made from that footage. You left the other camera behind. And if the guy was burning the place down, you'd think everything would be burnt down and they wouldn't find the camera. So I don't understand. Maybe it's just a mistake by Ty West when they did that. They think he, I don't know. Maybe he's like, oh, they found footage there, so we should leave that there. But, this is one of them found footage films that there are actually 2 survivors. People filming survive. But it's not badly made. I'm going to give it a middle of the road. Just because it's not something. If you can handle the subject matter, it's the middle of the road. But if you absolutely cannot handle the subject matter, then I suggest it's not worth your time watching. I suggest that. So it's kind of a twofer when it comes to a rating. But this is a very interesting way to end this. Because I did not expect this to be the movie that ended. I didn't even know that was this movie. I only knew it as the Jim Jonestown movie. The Cyanide Kool-Aid movie. That Eric and I would talk about every once in a while. I didn't know the name. Or I forgot the name. Maybe he told me I forgot it, but well, that brings us to the end of another Tubi Horror Weekend. This is the 5th one. Will there be a 6th one? I can almost guarantee it. Down the road, though. It won't be maybe next year. I don't know. It took a while for me to get this one out, I guess. Maybe a year. I don't know. I know I did that one last year. The 4 was last year. I'm really itchy tonight. So what are your thoughts on the Sacrament? I need to shave. Let me know in the comments. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.